Have you ever caught yourself wondering whether you still have that spark? Maybe you've looked in the mirror and questioned if age has dulled your appeal. Perhaps you've noticed younger people around you and felt like your best days are behind you. But what if everything you've been telling yourself is completely wrong? What if the truth is that you've actually become more magnetic with time, not less? Today, we're going to explore something most men never realize about themselves. There are clear indicators all around you right now that prove you're far more appealing than you give yourself credit for. These aren't vague compliments or empty reassurances. These are real, observable behaviors that happen when people genuinely find you attractive. And the best part, most of these signs have nothing to do with perfect skin or a full head of hair. By the time we finish, you'll understand exactly what to look for and why these signals matter so much. You'll walk away with a completely different perspective on how others see you. So let's dive right in. The first thing you might notice is how easily certain people seem to relax in your presence. Think about recent conversations you've had. Were there moments when someone younger, maybe a woman in her 20s or 30s, seemed unusually at ease talking with you? Did she lean in while you spoke? Did the conversation flow naturally without awkward pauses? This comfort isn't random. When someone feels genuinely drawn to another person, their body language opens up. They don't cross their arms or look around the room searching for an exit. Instead, they stay engaged. They ask follow-up questions. They might even find reasons to extend the interaction beyond what's necessary. Now, you might think this just means you're approachable or friendly. And sure, that's part of it. But there's something deeper happening here. Women, especially younger ones, are incredibly perceptive. They can sense authenticity from a mile away. If they're choosing to spend time with you, laughing genuinely at things you say, and seeming reluctant to end the conversation, it's because something about you appeals to them on a level they might not even consciously recognize. Consider this scenario. You're waiting in line at a coffee shop. A woman strikes up a conversation about something trivial, maybe the weather or how slow the line is moving. But instead of a quick exchange and turning away, she keeps talking. She mentions where she works. She asks what you do. She comments on something you're wearing. Before you know it, 10 minutes have passed and neither of you has moved much closer to ordering. That's not coincidence. That's attraction manifesting as comfort. She feels safe with you, she senses maturity and stability, and whether she articulates it or not, those qualities draw her in because they're increasingly rare. Another clear indicator involves how people respond to your appearance. Now, let's be honest, most men don't obsess over fashion the way they might have in their 20s. But here's what's interesting. As you've gotten older, you've likely developed a sense of personal style that actually works better than anything you wore when you were younger. Maybe you've settled into wearing well-fitted jeans and simple button-downs. Maybe you've invested in a good watch or quality shoes. Perhaps you've learned that a clean, classic look beats trying to chase trends. And people notice. They might comment on your jacket. They might say something about how put together you look. They might even ask where you got something you're wearing. These aren't throwaway compliments. When someone takes the time to comment on your appearance, they're telling you they've been paying attention. They've looked at you long enough to notice details. That alone is significant. But it goes beyond clothing. Grooming matters too. If you're someone who takes care of your beard, keeps your hair neat, and pays attention to how you present yourself, that effort shows. It signals self-respect. It tells the world that you value yourself enough to invest time in your appearance. And that quiet confidence, that's incredibly appealing. There's a reason why women often say they're attracted to men who take care of themselves. It's not about vanity. It's about the message it sends. A man who cares about his appearance is usually someone who cares about other aspects of his life too. He's disciplined. He's mindful. He pays attention to details. All of these traits become more attractive as people mature. Then there's something that happens frequently but often goes unnoticed. You're going about your day, maybe at the gym finishing a set, or sitting at a park reading, or simply walking through a grocery store. And you feel it. That awareness that someone is watching you. You glance up and sure enough, there's a woman looking your way. Your eyes meet for just a second longer than normal. She doesn't immediately look away. There's a pause, a moment of recognition, and then maybe a small smile before she turns her attention elsewhere. That lingering look is one of the most honest forms of attraction. It's unguarded, it's instinctive, and it happens far more often than most men realize. The problem is that many guys either don't notice or dismiss it as coincidence, but it's not. When a woman allows her gaze to rest on you, even briefly, she's acknowledging something. Maybe it's the way you carry yourself. Maybe it's your physical presence. Maybe it's something less tangible, an energy or confidence that caught her attention. Whatever it is, that moment of eye contact is her way of signaling interest without saying a word. And here's the thing. This doesn't just happen with strangers. Pay attention to how women you interact with regularly behave around you. Do they hold eye contact a beat longer than necessary? Do they seem to light up when they see you? Do they position themselves in your line of sight during group settings? These are all variations of the same signal. They want to be noticed by you. They're hoping you'll pick up on the cues they're sending. And if you start paying attention, you'll see these moments happen more than you ever thought possible. Now, let's talk about something that might surprise you. If people frequently come to you for advice, opinions, or help, that's not just respect. It's also a sign of attraction. Think about it. When someone asks for your guidance, what are they really saying? They're saying they trust your judgment, they value your perspective, they believe you have wisdom worth listening to, and all of those things are deeply attractive qualities. This happens in all kinds of situations. Maybe a coworker asks your opinion on a career decision. Maybe a neighbor wants your advice on a home repair. Maybe someone you barely know approaches you at a social gathering and starts asking questions about life, relationships, or experiences you've had. On the surface, these might seem like simple requests for help, but there's often an underlying dynamic at play. People, especially women, don't ask just anyone for advice. They choose people they respect and feel comfortable with. They choose people they're drawn to. And here's where it gets interesting. When a woman asks you for advice, especially about something personal, she's creating an opportunity for connection. She's opening a door. She's giving you a chance to show who you are, how you think, and how you treat people. And if she likes what she sees, that initial question can become the foundation for something deeper. Your ability to offer thoughtful, grounded advice without being condescending or dismissive makes you stand out. It shows emotional intelligence. It demonstrates that you've lived enough life to understand nuance and complexity. And those qualities become exponentially more attractive as people age. There's also something to be said about the way you move through the world. Some men enter a room and immediately demand attention. They're loud, performative, constantly seeking validation. But you're different. You don't need to announce yourself. You don't feel compelled to dominate every conversation or prove your worth to strangers. Instead, you simply exist with a quiet self-assurance that others find magnetic. This kind of presence is rare. It can't be faked. It comes from years of experience, from having navigated challenges and come out the other side with perspective. It comes from knowing who you are and being comfortable with that person. Women pick up on this immediately. They notice the man who doesn't try too hard. They're drawn to someone who seems content in his own skin, because that kind of confidence suggests stability, maturity, and emotional security, all things that become incredibly appealing over time. You've probably experienced this without even realizing it. Maybe you walked into a party and didn't feel the need to work the room. Maybe you sat quietly at a bar and people naturally gravitated toward you. Maybe you've noticed that conversations seem to flow more easily when you're relaxed and present, rather than anxious and performative. That's your presence doing the work. That's the cumulative effect of all the experiences you've had, all the lessons you've learned, and all the growth you've undergone. And it's one of the most attractive qualities a person can possess. Physical fitness is another area where subtle signs reveal more than you might think. You don't need to look like you live in the gym. You don't need bulging muscles or six-pack abs. But if you're active, if you take care of your body, if you move with energy and vitality, people notice. Maybe someone comments that you look strong. Maybe they say something like, "I hope I'm in that kind of shape at your age." Maybe they just watch how easily you move, how you carry yourself, and they're impressed. Fitness at an older age signals discipline and self-care. It shows that you haven't given up on yourself. It demonstrates that you're still invested in your health and well-being. And that's attractive not just physically, but emotionally and mentally too. When you take care of your body, it radiates outward. You have more energy, you stand taller, you move with confidence. And all of those things combine to create an impression that goes far beyond aesthetics. It tells people that you're someone who values longevity, quality of life, and personal growth. Now here's something lighter but equally revealing. If women laugh at your jokes, especially the ones that aren't particularly clever, that's a strong sign they're interested. Humor is one of the most powerful tools for building connection. And when someone laughs at something you've said, they're not just reacting to the joke itself, they're reacting to you. They're enjoying the moment. They're signaling that they feel comfortable and happy in your presence. Even your grown-worthy dad jokes, the ones that would normally get an eye roll, become endearing when someone is attracted to you. Because it's not really about the punchline. It's about the playfulness, the ease, the willingness to not take yourself too seriously. Women are drawn to men who can make them laugh, not because humor is inherently attractive, but because it reflects emotional intelligence, creativity, and confidence. It shows that you don't need everything to be perfect. You can be silly. You can be yourself. And that authenticity is magnetic. So if you've noticed that women laugh a little too easily at your jokes, or they seem to smile more when you're around, take it as a sign. They're enjoying you, they're drawn to your energy, and they're hoping you'll notice. Finally, pay attention to the small physical gestures. Does she play with her hair when talking to you? Does she lean in closer than necessary? Does her hand brush against yours just a little too often to be accidental? These tiny moments are rarely coincidences. They're signals. They're ways of testing boundaries, creating intimacy, and expressing interest without being overt. When a woman touches her hair, she's often subconsciously trying to draw attention to herself. When she mirrors your body language, she's creating rapport. When she finds reasons to touch you, even lightly, she's opening the door to something more. Most men miss these cues entirely. They write them off as politeness or coincidence. But once you start paying attention, you'll see patterns. You'll notice that certain women consistently behave this way around you. And that's when you'll realize just how much interest is actually being directed your way. So where does all of this leave you? Hopefully with a completely different understanding of how you're perceived. The signs are there. They've probably been there for a while. You just weren't looking for them. You don't need to be younger or different to be attractive. You are attractive right now, exactly as you are. The sooner you recognize that, the more confidently you'll move through the world. And ironically, that confidence will only make you more appealing. Start paying attention. Notice the lingering looks. Notice the easy laughter. Notice how people respond to your presence. Because once you see these signs for what they really are, you'll never doubt your appeal again.